Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are breaking down the romance novel Meet Your Match. And it really gets into a classic question, but in a super modern way. What happens when a cynical journalist and a star athlete are thrown together? Can they find common ground, or are they just, destined to clash?
So, at the heart of this whole thing, you've got two people from completely different worlds, right? First, there's Maven King. She's this sharp, witty journalist who's all about meaningful community stories, definitely not the glitz and glam of pro sports. And then on the other side, you've got Vince Tanev. He's the hotshot rookie hockey star, and it seems like his entire life is defined by fame, money, and, well, what the book calls a permanent rich boy pout.
Okay, so how do these two meet? Well, their story kicks off with a classic meet-hate moment. You know the type. It all goes down at this fancy, high-society charity gala, where a simple piece of art, a vase of all things, unexpectedly becomes the villain of the story.
So Maven's there on assignment, right? And she is just not buying the whole performative charity thing from all the rich attendees. And her cynicism, it runs deep. This isn't just about her being a detached journalist. No, it's super personal. See, she had this really bad heartbreak with a silver spoon-fed athlete in the past, and it left her feeling like a total outsider in that world.
And that brings us to this quote. This is Maven's brutally honest, completely unfiltered take on a piece of art that's up for auction. It's an opinion she just happens to share with the handsome stranger standing right next to her. And you guessed it, that stranger turns out to be none other than Vince Tanev himself.
And boom, just like that, the perfect meet-hate is locked in. But it gets worse. Maven, being the journalist she is, can't resist. She snaps a photo of Vince with his creation and slaps on a super sarcastic caption. And that one little post, it sets everything that follows into motion.
So, let's talk about where this goes, because that sarcastic photo doesn't just fade away. Nope. Against all odds, it goes viral. And that leads to an assignment that neither of them could have ever seen coming.
Now here's the crazy part. The viral buzz from her post, it actually helps Vince's supposedly heinous vase raise $10,000 for charity. So this little publicity stunt, whether it was intentional or not, it immediately catches the attention of the hockey team's management. The team's GM, of course, sees a total PR goldmine here. He offers Maven's media outlet, the Tampa Bay Babes, what is basically a dream assignment. A full month, 24/7, all-access exclusive with their star rookie to stir up even more buzz. And for her bosses, it's an opportunity that is way too good to pass up. So how do they feel about this? Well, predictably, neither of them is thrilled. Not at all. Maven's panicking, feeling like her real, serious goals are being pushed aside for some fluff piece. And Vince? He just sees it as a distraction with a capital D. But at the end of the day, the career stakes are just too high for either of them to say no. And so, these two opposites are forced into each other's lives, constantly. And of course, this is where the real story starts to unfold. This forced proximity means they have no choice but to start peeling back the layers and discovering what's really going on behind each other's public personas.
So, Maven starts to see there's a lot more to Vince than just the aggressive athlete his teammates call an absolute rocket. She gets to his pristine condo and discovers this messy little corner that's described as an explosion of pottery. And it hits her. This is his escape. It's his creative outlet where there's no pressure, no goals, no expectations. It's just for him.
And it goes both ways. Vince starts to see past Maven's job as a social media influencer. He starts to see the real woman under that cynical journalist persona. He finds someone who is deeply passionate about her family's legacy of hands-on charity work. Someone who genuinely wants to be face-to-face with those in need and help them.
And then there's this really crucial moment, a turning point. Maven finds Vince in a local park, quietly handing out supplies and just spending time with members of the homeless community. There are no cameras, no publicity. And seeing this one thing, it completely shatters her initial judgment of him. He's not just another rich athlete. But just as they're starting to build something real, something genuine, Maven's past comes roaring back. And this resurfacing trauma, it creates the central emotional conflict of the entire story. It all stems from these absolutely devastating words from her ex-fiance's mother. Imagine hearing this. It left Maven with this deep-seated fear, this core belief really, that she just doesn't belong in the world of wealth and prestige, the very world that Vince lives in.
I mean, that past relationship just made her feel completely underdressed, unimpressive, and so far from welcome.
So for her, falling in love is like getting on a roller coaster. You know that thrill? But then the seatbelt breaks, and you just go flying. She is absolutely terrified that trusting Vince is just setting herself up for the exact same painful crash.
Meanwhile, Vince has his own set of fears, right? He's surrounded by people who only want him for his fame or his money. So what he wants more than anything is to find someone who actually sees him, the real him, and challenges him. And that creates this really powerful parallel, doesn't it? Both of them are terrified of not being seen for who they really are.
So, this all leads to a huge turning point. They both have to make a choice. Are they going to cling to the safety of their old fears, or are they going to risk everything for a shot at a new, authentic connection?
And for Maven, her breakthrough is, well, it's pretty traumatic. It's this huge cathartic moment where she finally confronts her demons. And I mean literally. She physically destroys every single memento from her past relationship. We're talking smashing frames, tearing up photos, just breaking stuff to finally make room for a new beginning. Once their guards are finally down, they can actually build a true partnership. Vince becomes her biggest champion. He's 100% behind her as she uses the platform she's built to launch her very own media project, one that's focused on the community heroes she's always wanted to cover. And that brings us to this final line, which just perfectly sums up their entire journey. You see, they didn't just fall in love, they found an equal. They found a partner who challenges them, who understands them, and who ultimately helps them become their truest, most authentic selves.
So the whole story really leaves us with this thought, doesn't it? In a world that's all about curated public personas and carefully crafted images, how do we find the courage to reveal our authentic, messy, private selves? And maybe more importantly, how do we find the courage to really see someone else's,